uh, coming to this polymorphism and the virtual functions, this is the second topic in your third unit. Okay, these are the topics we need to discuss. What is polymorphism and the static binding and dynamic binding, and the use of virtual function. How you are able to use these virtual functions to achieve runtime polymorphism, and a pure virtual function, virtual destructors, and abstract classes. Okay. In the morning class, we have seen function overloading and overriding topics, right? Overloading means the same function name with you need to differ number of parameters or type of the parameters you need to change. Either you can change a number of parameters, or you can go with type of the data that expecting that function. Okay. See, coming to polymorphism, actually this polymorphism is from Greek word. Okay. Like poly means many. Okay. Morphism means forms. This polymorphism means here it is a two word, like it is divided two words. One is poly. Poly means many. Morphism means forms, many forms. Okay, polymorphism means many forms. Okay, see, I will give some general example. Okay, for example, you are the student. Okay, for example, you are in your you are in college. You are the student. Suppose the same you only when you are at your home. Okay, you may be a son or daughter, right? At your home, for your like mother, father, you are the son or daughter. For example, you are in some playground. Okay, for example, the same person, the student only, when he is in college, you are calling him as student. Okay, when you are in at home, you are the son or daughter. Okay, when you are at your playground, I'm calling in the same person as a player. We can call like this, right? When you are at college, you are the student. Same one person is there. This person, okay. This person, when he is at college, I'm calling him as student. When this person is at his home, he may be son or daughter for his parents. Okay, the same this person when he is at playground, I'm calling him as a player. Okay, see, observe the concept. Same person, same person performing different roles: student role, son or daughter role, as a player role. This concept you can call it as polymorphism. Okay, one thing that exists in different forms. Okay, one person doing different. You are seeing in different ways, right? Based on his like place. Okay, when he is at college, student; at home, son; at playground, player. Okay, this scenario, this concept, you can call it as polymorphism. Okay, the word itself saying poly means many, morphism means forms, many forms. That means one thing that exists in different forms is called polymorphism. Okay, in C++, this polymorphism concept we can achieve in two ways. One is compile time polymorphism. Second one is runtime polymorphism. Okay, see, polymorphism means many forms. One thing that exists in different forms is called polymorphism. Okay, This we can achieve in C++ in two ways. One is compile time, second one is runtime polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism, and actually this polymorphism can exist in two different ways. One is compile time at compile time, and one more is like runtime polymorphism. Okay. See, compile time polymorphism, we can achieve this compile time polymorphism by using function overloading. Okay, or operator overloading. This compile time polymorphism you can achieve by using function overloading and operator overloading. Okay, this runtime polymorphism you can achieve by using virtual functions. Okay, polymorphism that you can achieve this polymorphism concept in two different ways. One is compile time, and second one is runtime polymorphism. Like this compile time polymorphism can exist. You can see in function overloading concept and operator overloading concept. Okay, the same way this runtime polymorphism you can achieve by using virtual functions. Actually, this runtime polymorphism we can see in function overriding, not overloading. This is overriding. One second. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, this runtime polymorphism you can achieve by using virtual functions. These virtual functions will use in function overriding concept. Okay, in function overriding we will use virtual functions. Okay, to achieve runtime polymorphism we are going to use these virtual functions. Okay, see, compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism I'm saying. What is this compile time and runtime polymorphism? Okay, coming to this compile time polymorphism, this is compile time, this one is runtime. See, this compile time polymorphism you can like in other words you can say static binding, okay, or this compile time you can say static binding or early binding. Okay, compile time polymorphism you can, and in other words you can call it as static binding or early binding. This runtime polymorphism you can call it as dynamic binding. Okay, one more word, late binding. Okay, see, what is this compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism we are saying? Compile time polymorphism, in other words, you can call it as static binding and early binding. This runtime polymorphism, in other words, you can call it as dynamic binding or late binding. Okay, see, what is this compile time polymorphism? See, I'm saying it is early binding. Okay, this is late binding. Early binding means, for example, for compile time, you can achieve, I'm saying, by using overloading concept. Okay, overloading concept. In overloading, what we will write? Okay, same function name. Okay, same function name that you are going to differ in number of parameters or type of the data that you are going to change. Just see this example once. This is like overloading concept. Okay, already in the morning session I have just explained. See, I have one function add. Okay, it is expecting two integer type like parameters and just returning the addition of those two. The second function is there, okay, with the same name. If you see, this is the first one and this is the second one, the same name, but I'm just differing the number of parameters. Okay, number of parameters I'm just changing. Okay, here three parameters I have taken of integer type. Okay, in this case I'm just returning addition of these three numbers. If you observe this third one, okay, in the third one it is also name of the function is same, but return type I have changed and number return type of this all the parameters I have changed. That means you are taking the same name, but you are differing like either in number of parameters or type of the data you are changing. Okay, in the previous case it is integer type data it is expecting. In this third case, in the third function, it is expecting double type, means some decimal value it is expecting. Now the concept is early binding. Early, here binding, I'm saying binding means you are going to, while calling your function, you are going to associate with your function definition. Okay, here here if you observe the this is the function and function definition I have written, right? This is the function definition I have written. This is also function definition. If you observe here, if you want to use this particular function, you need to call that function. Okay, if you observe here, this is the, okay, this particular thing, add 10 comma 20. What is this means? This is the function call. I'm calling this particular add function with two parameters, two values, actual values, 10 comma 20. Which function it is going to call? Add 10 comma 20, first, second or third. This is the first one, this is the second one, and this one is the third one. Are you there? If I call this particular function add 10 comma 20, which function it is going to call? First one, second one, or third one?
First one, sir.
It is going to call first function because you are sending two values here. Okay, based on your arguments, that function is going to call, and you will get the output of those two, addition of those two numbers. In the second function call, this one, add 10, 20, 40. In this case,
Second one, sir.
second one is going to call. If you observe this third one, add 10.5, 20.5, 40.5. Now,
Third one, sir.
third one is going to call because if you observe here, if the same function name is same, but you are you are giving some difference in number of parameters, here 2, here 3. And if you see this here, in the third case also it is expecting three values, but these are of type double type. Okay, in the previous case it is integer type, this case double type. That means same function name with different parameters. Number of parameters, you can different number of parameters, or like data type of that parameter you are differing. That is called like function overloading. Okay, function overloading means same function name with different parameters. Different parameter means you are giving some difference in number of parameter, either number of parameters or data type of your parameter you are changing. Okay, based on that only. See, while compiling this code, okay, if it is a function overloading, while compiling my code, if I compile like this, okay, what happens? My compiler knows which function I need to call. Okay, if I call here, see, if I call like this, at the time of compilation, compiler will gets to know which function is going to call. Okay, see this call, your this function call is going to associate with function definition. This one, okay, your while calling your function, okay, this function call is going to associate with your function definition. Okay, this thing, okay, the function call is going to associate with the function definition is called binding your function. Binding means your function call is going to associate with your function definition. Okay, this thing you can say it is binding your function. Okay, see, in function overloading, function call is going to associate with the function definition at the time of compiling your code. Okay, at the time of your compiling your code, your function call is going to associate with your function definition. That's why you can call it as compile time polymorphism. See, I'm saying polymorphism. Okay, how you can say it is polymorphism? You can see same function name doing different tasks. Okay, one thing that exists in different way. Okay, see, one function doing multiple tasks here. In this case, it is adding two numbers, integer numbers. In this case, it is adding three integer numbers. In this case, it is adding three double numbers. Means one function doing multiple tasks here, okay, which is existing in different forms is called polymorphism. Okay, this in this overloading, okay, function call is going to associate with the function definition at the time of compilation. At the time of compiling your code, okay, compiler itself knows that this function call is going to associate with this function definition. Okay, at that see, at the time of compiling your code only, compiler knows which function is going to call. Okay, that means you can call it as compile time polymorphism. Okay, and also you can say this is early binding. Early binding means at the time of compiling only, your like function call is going to associate with the function definition. Early means while compilation only, the compiler knows which function we need to execute. Okay, so that you can call it as early binding or compile time polymorphism, or you can say static polymorphism. Okay, I think we are already seen static keyword, like when you talk about static variables and static functions. Okay, at the time we have already seen this static keyword. Okay, static, you are using static means at the time of compilation itself, those functions are going to identify. So that this type of polymorphism, you can call it as compile time polymorphism or early binding or static polymorphism. Okay, this is about static binding or compile time polymorphism. You can achieve this in two ways, by using function overloading. Second one is operator overloading. Okay, operator overloading also we will see. Actually, the topic it is in fourth unit. Okay, there we will see how that operator overloading will work. Okay, here just for static or compile time or early binding, example is function overloading. Okay, just take this example for compile time polymorphism. Okay, this is how polymorphism is going to achieve in C++. Okay, here polymorphism means many forms, one thing that exists in different forms. If you observe in this case, same function name is existing in different forms. In one case, it is adding two integer numbers. In another case, it is adding three integer numbers. In third case, it is adding, okay, in different double numbers it is adding, but the function name is same. Okay, this is called like compile time polymorphism. In the same way, we have, see, this is the static binding or early binding. Early binding means at the time of compilation only, your function is going to associate with your function definition. Function call is going to associate with the function definition, so that you are saying it is early binding. In the same way, we have dynamic binding, okay, or late binding. See, this runtime polymorphism you can achieve by using overriding. Here it is overloading either function or operator. Function overloading just now we have seen. Operator overloading we will see in fourth unit. Okay, how you can overload your operators. Okay, coming to overriding. Okay, in the morning session we have seen, right, same function name, same number of parameters, and same type of parameters. For example, you have int, sorry, you have suppose int add function is there, it is expecting into a comma into b. In the same way, it is just returning a plus b. Same way, int add function is there, it is expecting int a comma into b. If you observe here, both the functions are same. Okay, this function and this function, there is no difference. Okay, this is called overriding, but this in this way you cannot write directly in your program. Okay, if you see the same function, if I write within a single program, it is not possible, it will give compilation error. You can see redefinition of int add int comma int, okay, which is not possible. You cannot write same signature, means same function name, same number of parameters, same type of parameters. It is not possible to write within a single class or single within a single scope. Okay, then how you can write that overriding concept? That overriding you can write in inheritance concept. Inheritance means you have base class. Just see this thing. You have base class. Inside base class you have functions. Okay, the same function name you can write in derived class as well. Okay, in this case, you are overriding base class members inside derived class. Okay, overloading you can achieve by using overriding, you can achieve by using this particular inheritance concept. You can use this overriding. Okay, means you can write same function name and same number of parameters and same type of parameters in different classes. Within a single class it is not possible. In different classes means base and derived. Base and derived classes, you can write this, you can override your functions. Okay, you can override your member functions. Now in this overriding case, function call is going to associate with its function definition at the time of running your code. This is at the time of compiling your code. Here function call means you are trying to access some functions, means you are just calling and you are executing that particular function, right? That can be associated at the time of running your code, not at compiling your code. At the time of running your code, your function call is going to associate with your function definition. That means at the time of running your code, okay, at the time of running your code, your function is going to, your function definition is going to identify it, so that you are calling it as a runtime polymorphism, okay, or dynamic polymorphism. Why you are calling it is dynamic means at the time of running your code, dynamically your function is going to call. And also you can call it as late binding. At the time of compilation means early binding. At the time of running your code means it is a late binding. Late binding means after compilation, you are going to run your code. At the time of running your code, your function call is going to associate with your function definition. Okay, example is overriding concept. Just take this example. Okay, see, in overriding, you can override your one function in another class, means in derived class you can override that particular function. This is a function, okay, this function you are overriding inside your derived class. Okay, inside single class it is not possible. For example, if I write the same function inside one single class, if I compile this code, you can observe it is giving the error. Okay, void base display cannot be overload. In this way you cannot overload same function, the same or like parameters. It is not possible. But if you want to write the same function name, the same number of parameters and same type of parameters, you can do that using inheritance. Okay, in base class function, you are overriding inside your derived class. Okay, this is called overriding. In overriding case, function call is going to associated with function definition at the time of running your code. That means this same, you can see same function doing multiple tasks. If you see inside base class, you are displaying base. Inside derived class, same function doing some other task here. Okay, it is displaying display derived, means same function doing multiple tasks. Multiple tasks means same function existing in two different way. Okay, in base class it is doing some work, in derived class it is doing some other work. That means you are going to achieve polymorphism concept here. Okay, same thing which is existing in different forms called polymorphism. Okay, which is going to exist, which is going to exist at the time of running your code. Okay, so that like you are in a position to achieve polymorphism at runtime, call runtime polymorphism, or you can say dynamic polymorphism, okay, or dynamic binding, okay, or late binding. Late binding means after compilation only you are able to like decide. After compilation you are going to run your code, right? While running your code only you are going to decide which function is going to call. Okay, that is called runtime polymorphism. Okay, clear, right? What is compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism? Okay, this compile time polymorphism you are like achieving by using overloading concept, okay, function overloading and operator overloading. And this runtime polymorphism you are going to achieve by using overriding concept. Okay, actually in overriding concept there is a problem I will show. Okay, that problem you are going to achieve with by using like virtual functions. Okay, just see these slides once. The concept of polymorphism is one of the essential features of an object-oriented program language. This polymorphism concept, okay, means many shapes. Polymorphism means many forms. You can say, okay, one thing that can exist in different forms. You can call it as polymorphism. Actually, we have two types. One is static polymorphism and dynamic polymorphism. The static polymorphism, you can, in other words, you can call it as like this one is static means compile time polymorphism also you can call, okay, compile time or else early binding. Early binding. This dynamic polymorphism you can call it as late binding or runtime polymorphism. Okay, static polymorphism and like runtime polymorphism or dynamic polymorphism. Okay, the static polymorphism we can call it as compile time or early binding. Okay, this is late binding or runtime polymorphism. Okay, next binding. I said right. Binding means connecting a function call to a function body is called binding. Okay, you are calling one function means you want to do, if you want to execute that particular function, you are going to call that function. Okay, you are going to associate your function call to function definition. Okay, that is called binding. Okay, you can bind in two ways, like static binding or early binding or dynamic binding or late binding. Okay, just just now we have seen right, static binding and early binding. At the time of compiling your code, see, static binding means at compile time it is known which function definition will be invoked upon function call. That means you are calling one function. Okay, that function call knows at the time of compiling your code itself which function you are going to execute. Okay, that's why you are saying it as static or early binding. Okay, using overloading concept you can achieve this thing. Okay, here you can see function overloading or operator overloading. By using these two you can achieve this static or early binding. Simple, blindly remember, compilation time only you are going to invoke your functions. Compiler don't get confused while calling your particular function, so that you are calling it as a early binding. Okay, this is the example I just have shown, right? Same, you can go with any one example. Okay, this is one function, it is taking into value the same name. Here also you also same, it is expecting character type value. Okay, while calling your function, compilers knows that this function is going to call this particular definition, and this particular function call is going to call this particular definition. Okay, this is overloading, right? Okay, compiler knows this thing. That's why at the time of compilation you are able to bound, bound your function definition. Okay, so that it is early binding. In the same way, in dynamic binding also, okay, which function definition to invoke is deferred and decided late at runtime. Okay, which function we are going to call, that would be decided late, means after compilation, at the time of running your code you are going to decide which function you are going to call. That's why you can call it as like late binding or runtime polymorphism. Decision is made based upon which address is stored in base class pointer. Okay, actually in the morning class I just showed, or like by using pointers you can access your class members. Okay, you are creating one object, for that object you are pointing one pointer. Okay, based on your pointer, either it is base class pointer or derived class pointer. Based on that, at the time of running your code, okay, that based on that pointer only you are going to like call your functions. That can be done at the time of running your code. Okay, I will show that example program once again. Okay, by using pointers, how you are able to call your base class members and derived class members. Okay, actually this entire this dynamic binding or late binding or runtime polymorphism you can achieve by using virtual functions. Okay, by using virtual functions in overriding concept. Okay, in overriding concept you are going to write some virtual functions. By using that virtual function concept, you can achieve this runtime polymorphism. Okay, this is the example you can see. Here I just use virtual. I will tell what how it will work, but here this is the overriding concept. Okay, this y display function, the same y display function is there inside derived class as well. Okay, you are overriding this function in derived class. Okay, this is called like dynamic polymorphism. By using overriding concept we are going to achieve, but in overriding there is a problem that you can achieve by using virtual functions. Okay, same example that we have seen by using pointers. Okay, you have derived class object, base class pointer. This pointer now pointing to derived class address. Now you are able to like access the like base class members and derived class members. Okay, see now virtual functions. Okay, see what is the problem in like dynamic polymorphism. If I'm trying to like override some functions inside derived class, what happens? Just see, this is the base class, right? Inside base class you have void display one function, void show one function. Okay, if I'm overriding those functions, okay, if I'm overriding these functions means here same void display and show display, same function I'm just overriding. Now if I create object for derived class, derived some obj object. Okay, see by using derived class object, okay, by using derived class object you can access both the members, right? Base class members you can access and derived class members also you can access. Now see, I'm just accessing base class display function. Consider obj dot base class show function. Okay, two times I'm just calling with the same object. See, if you observe in the output, you are able to access only derived class members only. Display derived, show derived, display derived, show derived. Two times I just called, right? Two times it is accessing only like derived class members only. Derived class members only. Now, what I will do, we have the pointers concept, right? By using base class pointer, you can access base class members. Okay. Now, see, just observe here. See, you have created one object, derived some obj. See what happens? First, it will allocate some memory for this obj. Inside obj, you will be having members of base class. Means this is considered, this one is the base. Okay. Inside base, you have two functions. One is display, one more is show. Okay. Inside derived, you have you have functions like display and show, because you are overridden these two functions inside this particular derived. Now by using this object, okay, by using this object you can access both base class members and derived class members as well. But if I'm trying to access these obj dot display and obj dot show, If I call like this, it is always getting the values from derived class itself. Okay, you are unable to access the base class members. Suppose I'm using this pointers concept base here. Okay, this is the pointer which is of type base type. Okay, which is always point to base type members. Okay, what I'm doing, ptr equals to, okay, unperson obj. This pointer now pointing to address of this particular object obj. Okay, this pointer now pointing to this particular like object. Now if I use ptr, by using pointer also you can access the members, right? In the morning I shown, right? By using this pointer to member operator, ptr to display, ptr to show. See, now by using this pointer, now this pointer pointing to this particular object. Inside this object, you have base class members and derived class members. If I call this ptr to display and ptr to show, this particular pointer, which type of pointer it is? Base type pointer. Okay, if I call like this, which is always called to base class members only. Okay, let's see here. I will just create one object, sorry, one pointer object, like base star ptr. Now this ptr equals to, okay, ptr equals to unperson obj. Simple, I'm just storing the address of obj inside pointer. Now by using pointer, I'm accessing display function, and also by using ptr, I'm accessing show function also. See what I said here, if I access like this, this pointer is a base class pointer, you can see here. It is always gets the, it is always point to base class members only. Okay, you can see now display base, show base. Display base, show base. Did you observe anything different here? The previous case, if I call with this object reference, I'm able to access only these members, derived class members, but base class members are not like accessible. If I use this pointers concept, pointers to base, okay, I'm able to access only base class members. Okay, I'm unable to access these like derived class members. Okay, in that case, what you need to do, just go with virtual function. Okay, here virtual function is a function, we can like define that function by using virtual keyboard. One second. See, virtual functions. See, actually these virtual functions, uh, we are used to achieve this dynamic polymorphism, means that overriding concept. Okay, without any confusion, we need to access the both base class members as well as derived class members. Okay, virtual function can have the definition in base class, means like whatever the function that you have. First, you are going to, for example, you are going to override one function display. Okay, that display function you are going to make it as virtual. Okay, by using virtual keyword you are going to add your general definition. That means here you can see, here you have display one normal function, member function. For this, uh, here in base class you have this function. This function you are making it as virtual. Okay, simple. Additionally, you need to add virtual keyword here. Okay, virtual display. In this way you are making one, you can write one virtual function inside your like base class. You are making this particular function as virtual. Okay, so that see, this is the syntax. Okay, just as shown, right? Okay, virtual keyword you need to add additionally. Okay, and same general definition only. Just like y display some code. If this function you are making it as virtual. Okay, see, like coming to virtual function, if I write any function as virtual, what happens? You are in a position to access both derived class members and base class members. Okay. Now observe this thing. The previous case, if I remove this virtual, you are able to access only base class members. Okay, by using object reference you are able to access only derived class members. Okay, if I make one function as virtual, okay, this is the virtual function. Okay, if I make this virtual function as virtual, this function is like become virtual inside this particular derived class. Okay, it won't be like treat as, it won't override with this particular function. Now, if I call with pointer to display, which is always like point to this particular derived class member. Okay, I think little bit confusion. Okay, see, this is about virtual function. I will explain once again in the next class. Okay, somewhat you need to understand very clearly this virtual functions concept. Okay, I think we don't have time. See, in your today's exam,